Mr. Adam Salam here. He's the Director of Commercial for Dur Hospitality here in the country. We've also got Mr. Ahmed Fahmy here, who's Head of Marketing for Speedy, delivery arm for Al Othaim Markets, yeah. And Ankit Bansal, who's the Head of CRM and Digital for Sixth Street, part of Apparel Group across the region as well. Thank you very much for your time. And all we're going to talk about is the wonderful topic of personalization. So, first question first. The first wave of automation was mass automation, right? Simple segmentation and sending out semi-relevant content. How has hyper-personalization, which is now what everyone is aiming to do, how is it rearing its head in your industry? Can we just have each of you answer that?
Yeah, well, it's a pro and con, right? So hyper-personalization, it takes a lot of effort. And maybe based on your assumption, you think you are hitting the right point with the personalization. But sometimes, because you're still dealing with a human being, he feels that you are overdoing it sometimes. So it's a quite tricky part. So I would always recommend, yes, personalize, but not to the extent that the customer feels that you are talking to a robot. He's still a human being. He can feel that you are communicating to him as a person. So I think there's a fine line on this. So yeah, I think that's the point of view on that.
Ahmed, yes. Like personalization for your specific industry, I mean, it went from totally nothing different to everything.
Yes, yes.
Right? How do you see it happening in your?
For my industry, it is totally different because e-grocery is different about other retails. So personalization, not only putting the customer name in the messages, we must give him the right product in application and website. If I give the customer the right product and you may like, I had increased my sales from this product around 35%. So the personalization is giving customer right message at the right time. And according to the insight from AI feature in the CRM, it's give us the right segment.
Yeah. Adam, I'll ask you one question. Talk to us a little more about how much is too much personalization?
How much is too much? Well, too much because again, emotional. We have to always put ourselves in the shoes. Maybe in my industry, I'd compare it differently because our products are rooms, our restaurants, our accommodations at hotels, are a nice meal, a kind gesture to a customer or to his friend, and so on. So most of the time, the product you buy is not yours only. You're giving it to someone as well. So the personalization here needs to be sent in a message that, yeah, it can fit me or someone I know, maybe my mother, my relative, and it goes on that. So too much meaning is that if you hyper-customize the package or the product to this specific person, you miss out on him imagining that this can be given out to a different peer person, let's say. So that's why we're always a little bit careful on that. We try to leave a little bit of generic line on there so it can really fit the customer, or at least him using the customer, to elaborate more on a word of mouth to his friends, etc., etc.
Ankit, you work in an industry that defined marketing automation to a certain extent, right? And retail will always be at the forefront. What does personalization mean for retail in fashion?
I think firstly, personalization or this topic is important because of the reason that the customer attention span is going down, right? So in order to capture attention, you need to be relevant. It's no longer about mass communication. And maybe I can give an example of how we do this at Sixth Street, which would be relevant. Until last year, our marketing communication was pretty much centered around gender as a segment through which we segmented our marketing communication, right? So it used to be women, men, kids, and all the marketing communication going out through different mediums of communication like push, email, in-app, SMS was centered around gender. But then we quickly identified towards end of last year that it's not going to work forever, right? So what we did was we took it one step further, where we changed our personalization game at 6th Street to be focused towards customers' browsing behavior, irrespective of which gender they are in, right? So let's take an example. If Shweta is looking for dresses on our platform, she's coming, browsing dresses. She comes back next day again, she's browsing dresses. Now, third day when you come in, what we do is, instead of sending you a push, we also personalize the medium of communication, right? Which is really important. Personalization is not just about like which channel, it's also about medium within that channel, right? So if I take a year back, look at a year back, we could have probably sent you an email, hey Shweta, here's the dresses you're looking at. But it's no longer working in that same manner that we want, right? So this time when you come to our app for the third day, we show you a nice in-app pop-up. We tell you, Shweta, you were looking for short dresses. Here you go. There's a nice creative from short dresses category, which is there in form of a vertical creative in front of you, right? And you took the first step of coming to our app. I took the second step of showing you the creative. So action was driven through you, right? So which means because of personalizing this, we are seeing about 8 to 10% CTR on our banners, which are personalized, as compared to traditionally about 2% CTR on email and push notification. So I'm technically getting a 4x more click-through rate, right? And after you click on that banner, I take you to a landing page which is curated only for Shweta. So we have, at 6th Street, we have merged our recommendation engine within MoEngage, through which we curate a PLP which is only tailored for a specific customer based on their browsing behavior, right? So now, when you go to that page, we'll show you dresses which you were browsing, and we'll show you bestsellers within that same category, powered within the same PLP, right? So just to conclude, we did two things here. Firstly, we not only personalized the medium of communication, we also personalized the channel. Sorry, not the channel, but the medium as well. Second thing is, we took you to a page which was curated for you. Hence, we are seeing even a better conversion rate, right? So that's what it means for us at 6th Street.
Thank you for that. I do browse around on the website for a lot of dresses, but thanks for letting me know that you're tracking. But guys, I just, one of the things that I want to point out is, do you think that Facebook is not doing this? They are, right? I mean, why do you think that you have a better, according to them, you have a better experience browsing Instagram and Facebook? Because they've suddenly changed up the pieces of content that you're consuming, right? And this is just sort of companies becoming smart about the people that visit their app, visit their website to deliver a similar experience. One of the things that happens on the back of something like that, so instead of spending a minute, we probably have our potential customers or our repeat customers spending double the time, which means there's double the chance that they're actually going to transact, right? And that's whatever that conversion looks like. Let me ask a different kind of question to each of you. In this particular example, Ankit, how many pieces of information, of data, go towards personalization in this particular example, right? And we'll come down because it's different for different industries. How many pieces of information help you personalize on average? What information can you collect? And so you know where I'm going
Sure.
with the question.
I personally am not obsessed with numbers from a data capturing perspective. I'm obsessed with what is valuable, right? I need to know, if you are my target audience, I need to know what are the price ranges of the brands you're browsing to be able to create a segment. So price range is one input which I need. Secondly, I need if you are a value shopper, if you are a premium shopper, that is again defined by price. Third is what categories you're interested in, right? So you could always end up browsing between clothing and accessories, which is bags, but you never go to formals or any other categories, right? So third thing is the categories which you're browsing in, through which I know like my journeys which are automated have to be created keeping in mind your browsing behavior, right? So I don't have a number as such in terms of the data points, but there are certain attributes, and within each of these attributes, we then obviously, if you are then taking any action, are you doing product views in any of these segments? Are you doing add to carts? Are you adding to wish list? What is the duration between your first session and transaction? How much time do you need to decide, right? So these are the kind of important attributes that we capture. We capture a lot more, but these are the attributes we based our decisions on, right, for personalizing. Yep.
I love the example.
It's a very powerful one, right?
I'll add to this. Comparably, it's a different industry again, but very similar in behavior. So segmentation is the key word. We somehow defined our guests, we call them guests because they book at the hotel. So we define them as fast bookers, so they take a fast decision to book. So it's very last minute, mostly business oriented. We have slow bookers, don't get me wrong. We all sometimes take much more time to decide, and this happens when you take, it's a family oriented trip or a leisure trip. And other examples like early bookers and last minute bookers. So we always look at different segments to make sure that we entice them. Maybe we can shift them to a different segment. That's one example. Or at least cater to their behavior, to give them the right product, not to entice them with another one that might not help them actually engage with your brand. So, yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's same pillars, but we can add something for e-grocery. Because e-grocery, we can work according to the using of the product.
Yeah.
So if user had buy milk today as 2 items, it's take 8 days to finish it. So I can make segment according to this to personalize message for offer milk. The same for other product.
So basically, if somebody's bought some milk,
yes,
the milk will probably last for 4 days, so you can actually send out a message.
I can target him again to increase the retention.
Yeah. I have another question for you, Ahmed. Talk to us about how do you personalize for traditionally offline customers?
Okay.
I mean, there is, how do you find the digital path to your offline?
Before answer this question, I must thank you for Samarat about the omni-channel presentation. It's very good, really. And this is the key for the marketing and transformation for next years, to make omni-channel and integrate between the traditional marketing and digital marketing. So if I had make integration with point of sale with offline markets, I can capture all data for customer, how he buy, what he's buying now, when he coming to my store, so I can make personalization messages before the timing he come to store again. So collecting data between the online and the offline, it's very important, as Samarat added, for omni-channel, and this is the value for the personalization and increases retention.
Wow. Have you, Adam, what kind of uplift have you seen in terms of interaction online among whether they're fast or slow bookers, or they're early or they're late bookers? When you personalize something on the website, for example, what's the increased level of interaction that you're seeing? Can you put some numbers there?
We did run a study on that. Maybe you were witnessing this back in the days. The 55% I mentioned, or the 50 was close to 55, is actually one of the engagement ratios that we have seen as a retention for customer buying back. So this came because not only understood, but you really targeted the right customer and gave the value for him to return. So the value we always present is quite simple. Maybe hotels do differently. Maybe they present point systems and stuff like that, but what we give is a cashback value. So cashback value has shown that, it has a stronger retention, or in a way, stronger value that the customer can use easily afterwards. It helps him decide better, because maybe on the point system, it will expire soon, or this kind of messages, fear factors. And especially now when we see the behavior changing so fast, especially when it comes to tourism, And as we saw, the growth is massive. So you cannot really capture all this behavior around. You need to be super dynamic. So being super dynamic, you need to let go into what you know or what is the customer. You need to focus more on acquisition. Nature of the business, right? So focusing more on acquisition lets you focus less on retention, and accordingly, the customization for offers is not the right strategy at this time, maybe, but you still build your segments to have this fine line to make sure you're retaining, you're understanding, and you're nurturing what you are collecting from data. Yeah.
You brought up an interesting point that I'm going to direct at Ankit, the dreaded uninstallation of the app. And how does personalization sort of either help you identify, bring them back, and maybe even increase their engagement and their value to you? How are those connected? Because everybody's paying for download the app campaigns, right? And we all know a lot of people download them, they delete the app within the next amount of time, which means your $10 per acquisition has just been wasted. How do you minimize that, and how does hyper-personalization help?
So acquisition is for the top line and retention is for the bottom line, right? And when it comes to reactivating a churned customer or retaining an existing customer, it's always going to be relatively cheaper than acquiring a new customer, right? These two are facts, right? Now, when it comes to so there are two parts of your questions. One is firstly is about identifying, and then second is what are we doing about those, right? So I feel like the identifying a segment of customers who are about to go churned or who will end up uninstalling an app is, I feel, easy because most of us use some sort of customer engagement platforms or marketing automation tools which come in with an ability of creating segments based on attributes, right? So if I have a clear vision of what is the definition of churned customer for my brand, I can create a segment. So for example, I'll just give two quick examples. Firstly, we are an e-com website. We sell products, fashion products, and the standard e-commerce journey is homepage, PLP, product page, cart, checkout, thank you, right? Payment page. So for us, the first segment of churned customers, how do we identify that is if somebody is, let's say, opening the app for 4 times a month, but not moving beyond a product listing page, right? I know something is wrong there. That segment of customers who fall within this bracket, if I don't do anything about it, they will drop off, right? And the second example could be, for example, somebody who's not made a purchase with us, repeated purchase within a 90-day window. I know, so we have not been effective post their first purchase in communicating something, right? So these are two examples. So I feel like identifying is easy with the attributes we have within such tools, right? Now, the second part of the question is what do we do about it, right? Everybody can identify based on their own business requirements, but I'll just take the same examples and I'll tell you for each what do we do. For the first example where customers are not moving beyond the product listing page, right? So, sorry, I'm taking your example again. If Shweta is on a PLP with dresses and she's not moving to the product page. She's coming, dropping off every day, right? Like, what do I need to do? As a brand, there could be, we could list down 20 different things as a reason of why you're not moving, but we have to boil it down to understand, right? So what we did at Sixth Street was we boiled it down to 3 main factors. First one is the sizing availability. Second one is the competitive pricing analysis. And the third one is the cataloging, right? So, and we picked up these 3 topics and we created a survey, which we then sent out to this segment via WhatsApp, not via push, not via email, because we know that this medium is more effective, right? So when we send this via WhatsApp, it obviously has a higher click-through rate, which means I'll record more responses. So once we got the data from this this survey which we sent out, we noticed a significant percentage of people listed out size availability as an issue, right? Which means obviously you're not going to look at the product if the size you want is not available, right? So we started including size availability as a factor in our PLP algorithms. Now products which were listed on top always had a 80% or more availability of the sizing, right? And all of a sudden, next time Shweta comes in, she sees my size is available, product I wanted is there, she moves across the funnel, right? So very quickly, moving on to the second example where customers who made their first purchase but have not made a second purchase within a 90-day window, in such segment, we replaced our survey with a fun quiz, right? So what we did was we wanted to use this quiz as an informative medium to highlight our USPs to the customer. So the first example in the first question in the quiz was, we asked our customers, what do you think is the number of days return policy for Sixth Street as a brand, right? We gave them 4 options. We asked them 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, or 100 days. Most of them responded 14 or 30, right? And when they did, we said, sorry, it's the wrong answer. The correct answer is 100 days. And we informed that we're the only brand in the market who are giving a 100-day return policy. That stays with the customer, right? Right? And at the end of the survey, we gave them an exclusive voucher, right? Now, again, just to conclude, 2 things happened here. Firstly, we used a medium WhatsApp through which we collected more responses. Secondly, we engaged them. I didn't send them a mass communication, here's a discount, come shop. It's not going to work, right? So we engaged them in a survey, post which we gave them a voucher, which made them feel rewarded, right? And because of this, we are seeing about 200 to 500 customers who are coming in every day and using those vouchers. And these are customers who made their first purchase 3 months ago, have come back and made a second purchase, right? So that's really worked well for us.
That's really interesting. I have to just announce this to everyone. Congratulations to the apparel group, actually to Sixth Street specifically. They've gone the other way. Most people, yeah, correct. Most people launched their offline stores in most every industry, and then digital has come in. Sixth Street actually started with digital, and they've launched a phygital store. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Can you just as we talk about this personalization, just a couple minutes more on what is phygital and how does digital blend into an offline experience?
Sure. As you said, we took a non-traditional route, and for us, we started this conversation with the idea of how we can add more customer value, and we wanted to take best of both worlds, right? So when you go to an offline store, we do a lot of things which we don't realize. So for example, if I go in, I said firstly, I'll have to look in this store for the t-shirt which I want. I'll spend 5 minutes going to that section. Then I pick up a t-shirt and my size is not available. Then ask the guy, hey, can you get me the size? The guy will go back, come back, and then he look for me. He'll say, sorry sir, this size is either available or not available. And then you walk out. You spend 10, 15 minutes just to know if the product was available, right? So we wanted to solve this problem. We said, why can't we just link the inventory in the back of the store to a tablet in front of you? We don't need somebody to come tell us, right? So that is the first problem we solved in the retail offline space. Then the problem, or let's say a limitation in the online space, is you can't physically touch and feel the product, right? So we wanted these 2 problems to kind of merge. That's where we came up with the phygital store. We've launched this in Dubai. Second one is coming soon in Abu Dhabi, and third one hopefully in Riyadh soon. So in this experience, the idea is human interaction for finding the product is gone. And if you like a product, you can actually, the instant gratification of feeling the product, trying on the product is also there, right? So that's the phase 1 of our launch. And the idea is to, again, as I said, to bring best of both worlds, give the customers an experience which they will see a value for once they use it, right? So as I said, like we do this every single day in retail, but we don't really think about it, right? So once you start using this experience, you will start realizing, why was I doing that, right? Like this experience is so much better. Yeah. So this is what we are trying to accomplish through the new experiences that we are trying to build.
Ankit hasn't said this to me. I may get into trouble, but we'll definitely please go ask about Ankit when the Riyadh store opens. I'm sure you'll get special pricing on everything in the store. But I'd like to sort of wrap up the session by asking Ahmed and Adam, where does personalization take your company, your brand next? What's the vision, right? Where's the future?
The future is always evolve because, again, it's human behavior. You need to always spend whether it's funds, money, I mean, or time or effort, to really understand your customer better. This way you will serve them better. So it's a simple takeaway, I think. It has a lot of heavy load work behind, between technical, between teams in-house, between interactions as well, maybe surveys as well. So, but the key point is really spend time on understanding that and spend the time to cater to the needs of the customer. Don't forget that we are always customer-centric.
Yeah, and one thing I'll just add to what Adam has also said is, we often see what works best is that union between marketing, between the data teams, IT, and the business, right? If those teams can collaborate, your personalization will be so much faster. Because there's quite a little bit of data that flows around across these departments, right? If everyone's talking to everybody specifically from these functions, and the IT team is actually assisting, very critical to make it happen so that the systems talk to each other, it makes for a much smoother process. What about yourself, Ahmed? Where do you see this personalization sort of track taking Speedy and Othe markets?
I think according to insights, 86% from shoppers is love brand according to the customer experience you give him. He shop from your market or online according you giving him the personalized thing he searching about it. So the personalization, if you have integrated and tracked everything for customer online or offline and collect all data, you can make good personalization segment and campaigns.
Okay. Before we end this particular segment, I'd like to ask anyone in the audience if they have a question they'd like to ask the panelists as well.
There's a question in the back.
Oh, great. Give me 1 second.
Hi, everyone. This is Lean Obesi. I'm a senior product manager at Tamara and coming from FinTech. And the three panelists have amazing checkout journeys. How do you use customer segmentation in retargeting customers who abandon checkout or the drop at checkout funnel specifically? Eager to hear the answers. Thank you.
I leave this to Ankit.
Come again?
I leave this answer to Ankit.
I'll take it, no worries. Okay. I think when it comes to, firstly, your systems should be in sync, right? So the customer engagement platform that you have should be synced with the performance marketing channels that you have, right? Your Facebook, your Google, your TikTok should link into the customer engagement platform. Secondly, when this people drop off, right? If somebody is the first time customer who's made to the add to cart page and they drop off, you don't necessarily need to give them a discount code immediately, right? Because if you do that, then you're devaluing your brand and people will do that very often, right? So what we do from my expertise is that we create journeys. For example, anybody who is added to cart like 4 times in the last 2 weeks and is opening the app and is still not making a purchase, so that person, I know the intent is there, it's right around the corner, he needs a little nudge, he needs a little push, and he will convert, right? That's where we have started showing them journeys within the app, tailored to only some specific segments. So we show an in-app pop-up, which is only if you are a customer, only you will see if you fall within that segment, right? And believe me, just by doing this segment of this 14-day abandonment cart, the intent is so high because we're looking at people who have added 4 times to the cart. We're getting 5 figures number on a daily basis through the code redemption, which is going out through this journey, right? So if you can still take that journey, link it to your TikTok, Facebook, because people will keep coming back, right? So that's how we do it, Sixth Street, for the segment.
Insightful. Very insightful. Thank you.
Let me add something. According to your company, Tamara, in my ex-company, we had launched a campaign for a specific segment who had in the checkout, who had a product more than 1,000 Riyal, and it's specific for Tamara, and it's make around 60% conversion rate.
Wow. So focusing the retargeting, very insightful. Thank you.
Yes.
Anything from Dur? You don't have a checkout journey, but I want to put him on the stand, sorry.
Well, we've tried to add yes, to everyone, exactly. So on Tamara, yes, I think the pay later is a fantastic model. I think in Saudi it has emerged and the penetration is very strong. I think everyone in the room agrees to this. And on every industry, yet to the hotels. So the hotels is the point where I've never seen any hotel implement this. Maybe it's worth the try. A little bit of technical points on that to integrate, but the point on the value, the basket value is very high usually in a hotel booking. So there is potentially value there, but maybe converting, and I don't really want to go there, but maybe converting from online to retarget to offline purchase is the only solution, right? So thinking of the technical part, but I will definitely try. Let's have a chat. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Dustin from HemoData. Thank you for a very thought-provoking discussion, really enjoyed that. My question is probably targeted at MoEngage, but I'm also really keen to hear the panel's thoughts on it. So I think it's been mentioned a few times that the technology ecosystem and all the platforms that you have access to, it can be quite cumbersome to understand what that world looks like. My question is there a perfect ecosystem of technologies that talk to each other? And second kind of add-on question to that is how do you go about deciding and choosing the right platforms to match your business? Because I'm guessing that all of you use different platforms for different things, and you've got the customer data platforms, you've got the messaging platforms, the deep linking attribution tools, the data and analytics platforms. I'm really keen to hear both MoEngage and the panel's thoughts on how you go about choosing that perfect tech stack.
I think different platforms. If I talking about back-end, I love Magento, but in e-grocery, Magento does not work well. You must integrate all platforms like inventory system with back-end system and CRM system, and must be the integration is good. So if you have CRM not integrated well with other platform, I think it's not working well. So MoEngage have best solution for integrations, and they already had integrated with Microsoft Dynamics. I think Microsoft Dynamics is one of the biggest platform have all features you need, inventory system and covering customer data. So I think you can decide the platform according to your needs.
We have, I have the pleasure of working across, over 100 customers in this region, and we've seen this over. I'm really young, although I've got about 15 years of experience. But having seen this a couple of times, we always look at least our recommendation is, please do your due diligence, because you cannot go according to someone else's recommendation of picking a platform just because they have it. It may be working well for their business, it may not for yours. But more importantly, I think the ability, as you rightly said, for there to be simple integrations, right? Out-of-the-box integrations with your most important pieces of technology that already exist. Because you want things to snap into place. There's no time for you to, have long integration cycles. Or somebody, a platform that's out of date. I think it'll just cause a lot of friction and cost you. Even though the platform may not be costly, it may cost you in other ways, right? I think that's one important thing. I think the other thing that you must look at is the rate of innovation, right? Because everybody says that they can do the same thing. It's not true. The rate of innovation should be a factor of, I think IT in most organizations has almost given up, right? In terms of recommending platforms, because specifically for CX and for marketing, every couple of months there's a new platform available for you to market in, right? First it was Facebook, then it was Google, Insta, TikTok, I mean, you name it, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, it just keeps growing, right? We know in a couple of months there'll be a new platform that you need to connect to. So how do you get to a place where the platform that you currently have, specifically for CX, for example, or customer experience marketing, can extend itself? If it's not today, are there plans for it to? So that extension of the platform is important. The other thing that I personally feel, and this is not a specific, of course, we offer that advantage to our customers, but scale. You may start with a smaller customer base as you start small, maybe from a digital perspective, and then you may grow really big, right? Do you want to actually rip out that platform and then have to put in a brand new one? So can it go from 1 to 100 to 100 million? Will it stay with you so that you're investing in your people, right, to learn how to use that platform? You can't afford to pull it out and rip it out and then put something else, and it's going to take them another 6 to 8 months to learn how to use the new platform, right? So something that offers you the scale, the ease of integration, the rate of innovation. I think these are key, right? And definitely take the time to understand, does this fit with what my vision is, right? So you know the ins and outs. Would anyone else like to add to that as well?
Honestly, there is no right answer. Ecosystem is never perfect, right? The evolution is very fast. Think business before technical, I think so. Set your strategy, the needs that you are looking for at this current stage, because don't forget the decision you're taking to implement something or de-implement something is now. It's not tomorrow. You don't know the future. So I've been personally exposed to this experience where I had to implement something and then it didn't work out, which happens, right? At least you learned. So learning is a very important phase in our life, especially with the very fast evolution. So the key takeaway is don't think horizontal. You cannot integrate everything. Honestly, there is no one key unless you're gonna go in-house. And going in-house has a huge fortune behind to implement everything from scratch. So the other way is, of course, you go for off-shelf products. And when you pick a product off the shelf, my real, let's say, key indicator to decide is the agility and the development of this platform. So is this partner really looking at me as a partner, or is he's only handing me a phone or a product? So the agility, the fast change, and the development of the platform, and hearing us as a customer on what we need, because we all, again, have our customers that we need to cater to through technology. So technology plays this role in the ecosystem. So your center of excellence defines the ecosystem, but it as Sweta said, as Ahmed said, there's no perfect system, there's no perfect systems or tech stack that you can really implement, and don't take too much time to decide again. Because if you take too much time, you will end up not doing or doing it late, so you miss this opportunity. So test and be somehow agile on that. So yeah, it has point of view, so it's a very subjective opinion. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, I believe my question is more towards Ankit. My name is Yusra. I'm the marketing manager at SDC Application, which is basically an application with discounts and offers. So the application is open to the public, and also we build applications for corporates as well. My question is more towards upselling and cross-selling. So for example, if we have a new brand on board, for example, Tim Hortons, I'm not going to make the announcement on blast. Rather, I'd very carefully choose it to direct it towards users who have either clicked on any coffee brand or taken a discount from any coffee brand. Likewise, when it comes to, it's a lifestyle application. We have offers from dining and gyms and services and whatnot. So for example, if I have a new gym on board, I will announce or make that announcement towards people who have taken discounts from healthy brands or healthy meals or whatnot. So this is mostly done through logic and manual work. All right, it's just by logic. Okay, you know what? This person's user behavior is they go to gyms, so by logic, they're going to be into healthy brands and whatnot. When it comes to Sixth Street, do you guys have similar cross-selling or upselling strategies? I mostly want to hear about strategies when it comes to cross-sell and upsell.
Sure. So think of this as a grid where horizontally we want to cross-sell across categories, and vertically we want to increase the average order value, right? So on our platform, we sell value brands, fast-moving fashion brands, which may have an average order value of 50 riyals. And we also sell like Tommy, Cole Haan, Calvin Klein, which can have an average order value of 500 dirhams or more, right? So what we do is, like in terms of strategy of cross-selling, as you said, like for us, it's not manual. We do a lot of machine learning and predictive analysis where we already identify, like for same example which you gave, like when you want to reach out to people regarding a Tim Hortons notification, why do you are only thinking about people who have clicked on coffee brand, right? I may go to gym, but I may not clicked on a coffee brand, but I'm still your customer, right? So for us, that's why we don't do manual interventions. We basically let the machine learnings to do that for us. And when it comes to cross-selling, so we powered that through content, which I believe is the game changer for us. Because if I'm looking at today running shoes, right, and I'm into running, I could be buying a 300 dirham Adidas sneaker. But if I'm continuously coming back and running, and if you now pick up as a segment and give me content which tells me the value of running, right? That content could be, as a runner, there are different types of shoes, and what are the benefits of that, right? And that can only be explained not through a push, not through an email, but a curated landing page which tells the benefit, or a video which tells the benefit, right? So when you think about cross-sell, think about content. Think about educating customers so that they see the value in cross-sell, not from a brand perspective, but from their own perspective, right? So same example which I was giving you, we created a running page. Traditionally, I would have just had a running page, which is a list of sneakers, running shoes that we sell. But right now, if you go to our running page, it will ask you, are you a short distance runner, long distance runner? Are you a marathon, sprinter? What are you, right? Based on that, then you started thinking like, oh, I am actually in this, but I need to be in this. And hence, I need to buy this, learn more about this product, right? So then the cross-sell becomes relatively easy. Rather than just forcing products on you, if I add content in the mix, then it works really well, right? So for us, we are powering all the cross-selling through content education in between. And we're picking up channels which work well for the customers.
My question is in personalization, segmentation, predictive analysis. What is the strategy for customers who don't engage with your marketing, email marketing, SMS, push notifications? How do you have a strategy that to minimize the engagement before they unsubscribe or uninstall the app?
I think it was like a partially answered that question, but I'll just again summarize it for you. So when we speak about personalization, right, it's not only about like, are you a TikTok user or a Snapchat user? Are you a email person or a Facebook ad person, right? It's about within that, what do you do, right? If I am sending you email, right, and if I'm sending you push and WhatsApp and like in-app and then an SMS about the same thing, it's a waste of real estate. I'm spending money on the tool itself and you're not really converting, right? So in that case, I need to be specific to every customer who's coming in. I should be knowing as a brand that customer X, he's responding more on WhatsApp. So I should stop bombarding that person on email or push notification. He's not opening it, right? Why am I spending money and effort and my resources in creating that, which has absolutely no value, right? So when you start thinking of within each channel, what is the perfect medium for a customer and personalized medium plus communication to that, right? Then it really works. For example, I I open every WhatsApp message I get, even if it says it's from the Central Bank of Dubai and know it's a fraud, I'll still open it, right? Because that channel is so personalized for me. Which means if, as a customer, I know you will also do the same thing, or most people do the same thing, then WhatsApp as a medium of communication makes a lot more sense than email, right? So you have to start thinking about all these parameters and then do what, it's all about testing and getting better over time, right? So, yeah, I hope I answered your question, yeah?
Yeah, the point you add is, yes, segmentation. On prediction, don't forget, you will have unsubscribers. This is inevitable. What we're doing is we segment them so we know why they are, or what's the behavior behind this. The predictive model is actually will help you to avoid having this kind of communication to the segment that you have defined, because the segment here defines the behavior behind it. So the prediction model will always use this to make sure that it doesn't bombard the other segments that you have and avoid, or your target is to lower the churn, in other words, in the system. And I've seen MoEngage, this is one of the platforms that can really put this into action, so you don't really have or worry about it. Or another sense, put this as a KPI so you have it in front of your eye and make sure it's always decreasing so it's not increasing.
So just to add to that, like what we've also done is like, Shweta was mentioning about money being spent on paid app install campaigns. So I'm not sure how many people actually look at uninstall rate by different channel sources of traffic, right? We realized that there's no point forcing a user to download an app just to look at what we are offering, right? And it's a waste of media spend. So we came up with like creative solutions around organically converting the customers from, so just a quick example, I'd rather drive you to my website, right? And based on which source, like let's say if you came from a Facebook ad, I will show you a custom banner on my website, which tells you if you want to transact in the app is an extra 10% discount. But I didn't force you. You came through my website, right? And now it's your decision if you want to make a transaction on my website or you want that extra discount for which you organically download the app. I may have less number of app installs, but it's coming organic, which means the conversion rate on the app would be high, right? So it's about like, in today's time, you have to give the customer the flexibility and the agility based on their requirement, not on what you want as a business, right? So that really helps us. So I think when you, just to summarize what Adam said here as well, that the idea, there will always be people who will uninstall, there will always be people who will not come back and make a second purchase. But the question is, how do you identify the problem, why they didn't come back, so that the next batch of people or next customers don't face the same problem?
And recycle. So recycle whoever was or did unsubscribe, maybe later on, think of them as a separate segment and see how you can recycle and bring them back again. Maybe the value you presented at that time when they took the decision, maybe he was mad, 6th Street, his wife is buying too much, I have to delete it. So, there is always situations, so I'm kidding, but we all love 6th Street. Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to thank the panelists. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for your questions.